This is Paul. Yes. Looks like it's going to start raining. Oh. And that could be a problem. That's why I have to stand up. Ouch. Now, as I was explaining, yes, I myself had marketed myself as an individual that could teach. Yes. I had read some literature from the Federal Reserve Bank. Yes, that employees spend approximately 33%. I think it's about, well, they spend 20% of their time, 33% of the employees that you have. They're always going online to research their own personal finances, folks. It seems that there's not enough to do in corporations, so they sit there and they're surfing the internet and probably watching YouTube videos if they find it humorous while they're waiting to do whatever it is they're doing. Yes. Now, this is just the behavior of those that are employees of corporations. It's something very normal. But the problem is the more time they spend researching their 401k, yes, their mortgage, their personal insurances, that's less time that they're spending actually doing the work of the corporation. Now, I know, and you're come to find out family, that your thought was, well, I just come to find out whatever it is I need to do, and as long as I get paid, I'll do it. It doesn't matter if it's against the law. It doesn't matter if it violates certain morals or principles, because I'm in the family. Now, as a citizen of the United States, when I inform you of a crime and you refuse to enforce the law, I have to think that you're illiterate. And what I did was, I was a commodity trading advisor, and then I realized how the market was going. Well, it's different when you work with futures. Yes. See, there should be a normalized pattern of the economy, and the interest rate on the 10-year should just move just a small amount each day. And it's easy to see the movements of it. Yes. You can use the 10-day, 20-day. It's not that difficult, really, when you understand how it should work. But somebody caused a little credit crisis because of the liar loans, where you can borrow enormous amounts of money because of your credit rating, and everybody wanted to be in the lending because real estate always goes up. Yes. I myself had a friend, and he was in the mortgage business, and he was really, really a good friend of mine. And I did one loan, I think, for a couple, and they were very nice, and it worked very well. And then I was very involved in non-recourse lending for those that like to use their investments so as to buy property instead of stocks, bonds, and mutual funds. Oh. But I really did study this whole concept of financial literacy, and I realized that there's a lot of waste in corporations, yes, and liability for not educating their employees about how their actual retirement plans work, and why you would want to certify as a company or corporation that you didn't just provide the defined benefit plan, you actually educated them so that you had something in the employee file that said, well, we did tell them how it works, and if they lose some money, it's not my fault because we provided it as a benefit for being an employee. But most companies don't think like that. They think, well, during the next depression, when everybody's pissed off that they lost all their money in the 401k, who do they blame? Their employer for violating ERISA laws. Now, these loan officers, yes, well, during the credit crisis, they thought that everybody was mean for making all that money on all that real estate that always goes up. Yes, you could buy 10 properties, no money down, good credit, and then you could flip them the next week. Lease options. Oh my gosh. Now, when you look at the actual individuals that work in banks that do the mortgages, they realize that when the states decided, well, we've got to do something about this, we just can't let anybody sell loans. They put all these certification requirements and fingerprinting and all this continuing education requirements, and to be a loan officer in a bank, it requires quite a bit. Because what the government does is they cause a crisis, and then they make you the individual that has to support your family. I noticed that almost every job where you make more than $100,000 a year requires government certification that you're allowed to make that much money. Pow! So, now as a man that has 5 sons, I've always thought about how I'm going to support my family. Yes, yes. And I realize that when you refuse to enforce the law, it makes it difficult for me to get a job. Now, I told you that it was against the law, and you sat there. Now let's do a background check on Paul Budnick, because I was on Craigslist yesterday. Had a few extra hours to myself after the community dinner at the Methodist Church. Yes. And I was looking through the various jobs available to me to support my family, and my thought was, if you're never going to enforce the law, true, I'm going to have to get a job, aren't I, Sheriff? Ooh. Now, you've arranged my life because of your issuance of court orders. Yes. And the arrest. Right. And the mental health evaluations, that the jobs that are available to me don't require a driver's license. Oh. They don't require a background check where there's no arrests. I know I've never been convicted of a crime, but you keep saying I'm fucking crazy. Now let's look at the certifications of those in the lending industry. How many private mortgage and brokers, yes, employ loan officers? Now they get a certain amount of points, and they should, because it's a commission-based industry. Yes, it is. And your thought was, well, we do a background check on every person, and looks like you've got a protection order against you, and you got a wage garnishment. Yes. And you got all this back child support, approximately $136,000 of it. Yes. You're just the kind of employee we want. But somehow I think they would say, no, with all of your education, being homeless for the last 7 years, and then it was 7 years ago that you were actually employed, and you might have owned some businesses, and you might have been financially literate, but Clallam County made absolutely fucking sure that they would never enforce the law.